All right, guys, welcome to Bite Me Season 1, Episode 40, The Truth About Trolls with Data Lee. But what is my TikTok and website and podcast without a little diversity? Am I right? Why, of course, we should include a few white men in the mix to keep things interesting. Today, Data Lee, a TikTok pal of mine, and yes, a white male, and I sit down to discuss trolls, aka mostly white males. Whether it's from their mom's basement or behind the screen of a cracked Samsung, these guys seek out to oppress those who don't have the same privileges they do. Irritating? Yes. Infuriating? Always. It's hard not to categorize as oppressor the one race and gender of people who have been doing just that for centuries. However, I do find very, very small glimmers of hope in men like Lee who never say not all men or well, actually, but rather just set the damn example, like I assume Lee is going to do on this episode of Bite Me. Lee, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
You bet. You bet. Lee is great. You can call me Lee. Ever since that I realized on the internet that I could use my name at the end of so many words,
You
uh,
can. That's
I had a
neat.
lot of fun with that. So like some of my original usernames were, I was also very quiet. So I'm such an introvert. I was always very quiet. So I was silently and quietly and intensely, which is all
Yeah.
very corny. But as a teen, that was all very fun. So even when I first got on TikTok, I think my name was, I think it was
Creepily?
quietly creepy. It depends who you ask, I guess. But I think it was quietly. I think. And then I was talking so much. I was like, well, that name doesn't fit me on TikTok where I'm like talking. So I changed it to, and everybody says, don't worry about this. Everybody says Dadely, but apparently it is Deedly, which doesn't, it kind of sounds like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So I'm like, maybe I'll keep saying Dadely, but I mean, it doesn't come up, but apparently it's Deedly.
Is
Anyway,
it datally like datally do? Like what? I don't know what that.
I
What
think
is the
it's
datal?
Deedle is, well, it's the root of like Daedalus. And Daedalus was, it's from Greek mythology, and he was a prisoner um, that fashioned feathers and wings out of like wax, and he escaped the island of Crete with his son Icarus. Anyway, so he was an
Okay.
architect and a sculptor, and he was just seen as really clever and intelligent and kind of. So the word daedal is kind of like uh, intellectually designed, so
Okay.
ingenious, cunning kind of thing. Anyway, so it's kind of pretentious, actually. But I'm
No,
like,
it's okay. It's a little bit
yeah,
of history for
yeah.
everybody today on Bite Me. I learned
But
something new.
to call myself Deedly, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how long that name lasts. But Lee is
Well,
good.
the possibilities are endless with the name Lee. So,
Yeah.
all right, very cool. For anybody who doesn't know, if you're following me on TikTok and you see somebody just annihilating a troll in the comments section, it's usually Lee. I call him my TikTok bodyguard. He almost always, like if he's available, comes to my defense, and he always says the right things to these guys. You can almost tell that when he talks to them, he's making them use what's left of their brains. So let's talk about that a little bit, Lee. So is it weird being a white male who doesn't fit the norm? And when you hunt trolls, are some of them taken aback, would you say?
It's sort of weird, um, but it's all I know. Um, when I was younger and I realized I was a lot different from most guys, it didn't bother me. I probably felt better than them, if I'm going to be honest. I've gotten over that. It doesn't mean I'm better. I'm different, but I had to deal with some of that growing up, like because I was always very empathetic and sympathetic and a protector. I was always being the one that stuck up for people. I hated bullies. I hate them, and because I'm a big guy, I'm like 6'3". I don't know how much I weigh now. 360 maybe. I'm a big dude, and
Yeah.
I was always sticking up for people, and so being aware of the fact that like what we're really conscious about today of being a white male who's not a douchebag basically wasn't really anything that was in my consciousness for a while. I mean, I was brought up very strict Christian and kind of in that cult thing, and I wasn't aware of the world around me in the way that um, I am now. I think I was late coming to it, and but once I realized it, I mean, it's difficult because my nature is to give grace, and I want to be someone who gives someone the benefit of the doubt and tries to help them grow. I mean, violence is not my first instinct necessarily. It's actually my last instinct. And I try to avoid it, whether it's verbal violence or physical violence, because when that happens, like I destroy whoever that is, because at that point I'm done. Like I see red mentally, verbally, like I just see red. Like I just want to destroy at that point. And so I try to avoid that.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. When the internet rose, I want to write a book, but there's enough books about it out there now. Like
You should
people,
write a book.
people are different on the internet,
Yeah.
women or men. Women tend to be more vulnerable. They feel safer, and so they share more. To me, that's a positive, wonderful thing. It can be bad, but it's a positive thing in general. Dudes seem to, in general, like show their inner asshole. Like all this time they've been being nice and keeping their mouth shut, and now they feel safe like women do. But instead of being like vulnerable, they are vulnerable. They just don't realize it. How they're being vulnerable is to show that they're little scared boys. You know, we all know
Yeah.
bullies. Like they're big talkers. Like they don't have anything to back it up. They're just scared people who are frightened, and so they're mouthing off. And God, like so many dudes just get online and they just mouth off. They don't think about it. When you give them crap, they like, well, we can talk about
Yeah.
that a little later, but they, when you, most of the time, when I clap back on someone, a troll, they are taken aback. If they're not, like, I don't know what it means, because normally they're quiet. I get very
Yeah.
few that come back
They
on.
do get quiet. You come at them at an angle where they don't, I've noticed, where they don't really know what to say because you've just slapped them across the face with facts
Right.
like that they can understand as a man coming from a man. Because if I say it to them, it doesn't internalize with them. But if you say it, they're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, they'll argue with you all day. Like if it's a woman saying it, they just continue in that same vein of I'm superior, I'll say what I want, which infuriates me, of course. And I step in, and I have to admit, and I do a lot of, I probably do 10 to 20% of trying to be reasonable and hit them with stuff, and the other 80-90%, I'm like, quit being a fucking douchebag on the internet, and that
Yeah,
doesn't.
sometimes you get petty with it, and that's okay. I feel like for anybody who doesn't know this about Lee, he's very, I would say, Nordic looking. He's like Viking looking, and he has content. So he's not just trolling these trolls. Like, he actually has content that they can go and say, like, they can go look at his profile and be like, who the fuck is saying this to me? And then they're like, oh, it's this guy. And I think that it surprises them,
Yeah,
you know?
I've had plenty of people come to, which it kind of surprised me. I don't know why. I say plenty. A lot of people have come to my page and they'll end up at some point going, well, I think you're a pretty cool guy, but
Yeah.
they still don't want to like back down from their point. And I'm like, well, your point's fucking ignorant. Like I'm not, at some point I'm done with people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with, I'm not there to argue. I'm there to
No.
get them to shut up. Like, I don't think I'm going to convince anybody to be a better person. If it happens, great, but I don't see that happening most of the time, and it's certainly not my goal. That'd be nice. I think I used to be like that. Like I'm going to convince this person. No, arguing on the internet's pointless. It really is.
I don't think you're there to save or slaughter anyone. I don't think you're there to save me or slaughter the individual who's talking shit. I think you're there just to present the facts and let people do with it what they will. I mean, that's the vibe I get
Yeah.
from.
I mean, yeah. I guess I haven't really examined my motivation. I know what I'm not doing,
You
and
seem genuinely you.
I am.
You know?
I'm the same. I'm the same online as I am in person, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the biggest thing that bothers me about the internet and trolls,
Yeah.
because those little fuckers would not say that shit to my face. They would not
Right.
say that shit to your face.
No.
And
We'll see him at Walmart and they won't say anything.
nope, they'll look down at the ground and
Uh-huh.
stare at their little tiny pee-pee. Like, fuck that. No.
It's so true.
So, yeah, I that's probably one of the biggest things. They are, and I've had to make a decision. Is that really them? Are they showing us really them on the internet? And that's a big dilemma for me. Like, they wouldn't do that in person, but would they? Like, if they could, if all their inhibitions were gone and I got them drunk and they didn't have any inhibitions, would they say the same shit? Or is something else enabling them to have that disconnect and not only feel safe, but also like be fucking stupid and not like use their logic? Like, I shouldn't have a comment section. Like, oh, this is one of the biggest things. A woman, okay, I'm not giving women a free pass, okay? But because some women are just there to get followers for their OnlyFans. I get it. That's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. But if you have a woman that's just going about her day, she makes a TikTok and she's not wearing a bra and her nipples are showing, and fucking 1,000 dudes have found 1,000 different ways to tell her that they see her nipples. That infuriates me. Like, it makes me so mad. And I'm like, are you a fucking 12-year-old? Like, fucking, she knows she doesn't, this is a non-point. And I know that might seem weird that infuriates me, but I
don't think it seems weird. It seems like you're putting yourself in the position of the woman, inadvertently, just sort of for whatever reason. You, like you say, your brain is wired. You're thinking to yourself, this woman here, she's minding her own business, just making a TikTok, and the men have made it perverted.
Yeah. And she just puts up with it because they're used to it. Women put up with so much shit because they're used to it. And I'm not gonna let that go on anymore. Now, I follow a lot of political people and a lot of people that are very strong into BLM and just human rights on every different scale. And I appreciate that, and I do some of that. And I get asked why I don't do more, but it's just not my thing. Like, I know this. Like, I love women. I think women are amazing, and I just empathize with women.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what I that's what gets me worked up. It gets me worked up.
That grinds your gears.
It does. So
so you seem pretty woke, though it's not to say that you weren't maybe an asshole at some point in time in your life, which you're welcome to elaborate on if you like. But for all I know about you, I don't know all that much about you. Lee's followed me on TikTok since I think the beginning, and we converse occasionally, and I think that we're both pretty sound-minded and on the same wavelength. But I mean, let's just get deep in it here. Like, what events in your life transpired to make you the way that you are today?
that is a super complicated question, especially at age
I'm
50.
sure. Yeah.
So I'll throw stuff out there, but I don't know if I can put it together, or maybe someone else can put it together. And I am 50. I was born in 1970, so I'm elder Gen X. And I was a farm boy. Like, I grew up, my dad was, he raised pigs for a co-op. And when I was 7, he was like head deacon in our Baptist church. And so I was in the church. Every time the doors were open, I was in church. And so I had that solid Baptist background. The Baptists are really good about teaching Bible stories. They're really good about teaching the Bible. So I grew up with that, knowing all about the Bible and all the stories in the Bible. And, it was just drilled into me, all the moral lessons for every Bible story. So Dad actually attended a meeting called a camp meeting, and he got what you would call filled with the Spirit. So this is right into the middle of the evangelical movement. Okay. So I lived in the buckle of the Bible Belt, like where all the televangelists were born, where, I mean, if you name a televangelist from the 80s and 90s, I've met him.
Pat, what is that? Pat Robin? No, that's not right.
Pat Robertson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met him?
Yeah. And
he's really,
and he's a little more southern, but yeah, like he's a nightmare. But no, we're talking about like Kenneth Copeland, Kenneth Hagin, or Roberts, Jimmy Swaggart, all these crazy guys, or Roberts. It was the name it and claim it Christianity, the faith movement, the faith healing. So really right at the beginning of the evangelical movement of how we know it today. That really made all these mega churches that now exist really were born out of that movement. So, Dad went to, now I say it's seminary, but it was seminary for evangelicals is what it was. And my mom went as well. And we moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time. And Dad, through that, became a pastor. And I was all on board for all this. I mean, I was a very empathetic child. That's a whole nother story. Very sensitive. So I was always very different. Um, but yeah, that kind of Christian ethic of how they talk and how they say they are really appealed to me. Yeah, I fit that. Like I was a freaking white savior. You better believe it. I mean, I wanted to save everybody and not really lead them to Jesus, but I could help people. I was empathetic. I was a good listener. I was pretty smart about psychology, and so yeah, I think that
It sounds like what you're saying is through the lenses of your childhood and then growing into your adulthood and finding out that these people were more of a do as I say, not as I do type of people kind
yeah,
of transformed your thought process.
it did. I was doing all the right things for the wrong reasons, I guess. And as life happened, I had to decide, why am I doing these things? Am I doing these things because uh, God told me to, or the Bible told me to, or my church told me to, or my parents told me to?
Well,
And if
that's
I
the thing in the
am,
church, isn't it? Like
yeah,
their whole thing, like for me, when I think of church, where it really got fucked up for me in my brain is I'm like, all these people are doing things so they can get into heaven, which you should be doing nice things for the sake of altruism,
right,
like kindness out of the goodness of your heart, not to get a reward. And so
exactly.
it sounds like that's kind of what you're getting at.
It was, and I just, as I slowly but surely moved away from that internally, because outwardly I didn't. Um, I liked who I was, but I didn't like why I was. So the past 30 years, honestly, has been a process of figuring out how to, for instance, was I going to treat someone with kindness because God told me to, or was I going to treat why I wanted to be kind to people. I wanted to be gentle and compassionate with people, but that was all tied up in my faith, and it just seemed wrong and dirty. So I had to figure out, well, I want to do those things. How do I do them? So I really had to like disassemble it and go back and really decide, these things are good. I believe they're good, but why should I do them? And then I had to go, well, it's really simple, Mr. Empathetically. It's because that person has innate worth. He or she, they're good people. They're valuable people. There's no,
Yeah.
like, they deserve you to be kind and good and compassionate to them all on your own. You don't need a reason outside of,
Right.
they deserve it. And so again, my whole life, after certain points, was a process of becoming becoming that. So in that process, um, you know, I always thought of other people first, um, other people's needs, and people do like to call me a people pleaser, but it wasn't really that, and I was never a doormat. I made choices, conscious choices along the way to prefer others above myself. I mean, that's a very biblical principle as well. But I saw how powerful it was. And so being preferring someone above yourself takes a lot of forms.
Yeah.
But certainly it encompassed protecting those who needed it, protecting those who are weaker than you, protecting those who needed your protection. And that was great for me. And so I naturally kind of fell into that, even though I didn't realize what I was doing. It wasn't that conscious. It was just part of my nature. It I until I was 40. I'm kind of ashamed to say this. Even though most of my friends were women, I I did not realize how differently women live life. I actually, when I started realizing this, sat down with a few of my friends that are women, kind of got pissed at them a little bit, because I'm like, why didn't you like really? Do you think I knew this? Do you see me walking through life and I don't care? I'm not afraid. Like I can walk to my car in the middle of the night and I don't think about pulling out keys or protecting myself. Like I'm not afraid of anything. Like nothing. And you walk through life afraid of everything in some level. You have, if it's not afraid, you have to be thoughtful about how you do stuff. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Like I sort of heard it, but it was more like, I don't want to say it was a joke, but it didn't seem like it was serious. All women, every woman I know does that, and I didn't realize that. And they're all like,
Yeah.
well, I guess we thought you realized it. I'm like, how in the fuck would I realize it? Like, it's
And
totally
then to
outside
us,
of my
we're like, how
experience.
could you not realize it?
Right, exactly. Well,
It's a
yeah,
struggle.
nobody tells dudes shit. So, dude, I do try to give dudes that benefit because they're ignorant. They are ignorant. No one teaches them these things. But when they get to a certain age and they have the ability to better themselves and grow, that's when I'm like, nope, you need to get better. And if you don't, that's all on you. So, yeah, that's kind of how me as a person came around to. I'm a protector, and I take any of these freaking personality tests. They're always like, "Oh, you're a protector." I'm like, yeah, I know.
Well, so
So
like that brings us to our next question, which is what grinds your gears about trolls, which you kind of already answered.
yeah,
But I think that the more important question is based on what you just said, do you to change to alter the question a bit, do you feel like the thing that grinds your gears about trolls is innately tied to the fact that you're watching them perpetuate like the demise of women's free existence?
it does in a lot of ways. It's something that needs to change. I don't know how to change it except as an individual. I think it's encouraging to see more and more men embracing, and I hate the word woke. I hate it,
Well, yeah.
but
What's
but
a better word?
I don't know, but
Evolved?
embracing their empathy, embracing their
Mm-hmm.
ability to not be selfish. I mean, to me, that's the point of a troll. Like they're purposely making a choice to be a selfish asshole.
Right.
Um, and when they get called out on it, they call it a joke. Oh, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. And it becomes this gaslighting bullshit stuff. When they we can't back off from that. Like that's what that's what grinds my gears is that they are just being selfish. They are not making the choice. They are making a purposeful choice to be a troll, to be an asshole. Um, I really do believe that in person they would not do that. They would make a choice to not be an asshole initially because they would suffer consequences. But if they really thought about it and you approach it in a certain way, they wouldn't want someone to treat them that way. They wouldn't want someone to treat their daughter or their wife that way. And so, what in the fuck are they doing treating some woman online that way? And I don't know if you've seen me do this or not. I, I know it's morally ambiguous, but these guys are stupid. Like, they put their full name in there and they got a picture of themselves, the same one they got on Facebook. It is not hard to track these guys down. People think I'm working some miracle. No, it's easy to track these fuckers down because they put themselves out there being a dumbass. And I will get all their information and I'll comment back at them. I say, hey, so and so and so, if your wife, so and so, knew you were saying this, how do you think she would feel? How do you think your daughter would feel if she knew that you were treating women like this online? How about your place of business or your church here? What about the people in your community, this community, blah, 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 and on your street, Seward Avenue? How do you think they would feel? Again, that's morally ambiguous. People call it doxing. I don't think it's doxing.
I don't know.
It's
Is
public
it? I feel
information.
like
It's public information.
I feel like
I'm threatening them. It's passive aggressive threatening. But
yeah,
that's
but
what I'm
they
doing.
shouldn't dish it out if they can't take it, don't you think?
Yeah. No, if they could do it to me, they would. I
Fair
have no doubt.
exchange
So,
is no robbery, I don't think,
right. Yeah.
But all right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back on Bite Me. All right, guys, welcome back to Bite Me. Lee and I are having some technical difficulties today. Like, there's a lady who's talking to us randomly, like over the microphone, and I've got renovations going on upstairs that maybe you guys can hear in the background, as well as the dogs, which is actually kind of fitting for the Bite Me podcast because that's my whole thing, is the dog grooming. But yeah, we're back with Lee, Data Lee, quietly, creepily, call him anything, just don't call him. What's a name that we wouldn't call you, Lee?
Don't call me creepy Lee. No.
Well, don't call him creepily. We don't like that, even though it's a little funny. So, Lee, you don't like the word woke, so we won't use the word woke. We'll use the word evolved. I would say you're an evolved white male. I mean, what do you think men can? And this is kind of like a duh question because it's like obviously, we know what men can do to be better. We're going to ask you specifically, how can men be better? What would you like to see going forward? And do you have any advice for women dealing with trolls?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
not
mean,
too loaded.
not at all. Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's obvious, but it's obviously not obvious, right? Um, Men being better, man.
It's a lot. There's a
I
lot there
I
to
think.
unpack.
I mean, the simple answers. I want to give my freaking dad answer, and that's just be better. But that's obviously not working, right? So I think this is a little bit of a human problem, but I think it's just more evident in men, and that's selfishness. Um, we're taught to be selfish. Uh,
Sure.
we have to take care of ourselves. No one else is going to take care of us, you know.
Yeah.
And that's while that's true, it's also very unhealthy and toxic way to look at the world because you're not in the world alone. The world doesn't revolve around you, and the world is not going to be good for you as an individual unless you're helping make the world around you that affects you better. So it takes a little complex thinking. And my dilemma with this is so many times it feels like that men are just so simple, and men as general are simple beings. We make jokes about it, that women are complex and men are simple. And I get that, but that doesn't mean that men aren't capable of deeper thinking and uh, self reflection. But I think that they're going to have to be given permission to do that. They're going to have to be encouraged in whatever it takes to,
Normalize therapy in men,
yeah,
perhaps.
really self evaluate.
Yeah.
Not just you're a man, you don't cry, you provide. I have men all the time that are griping about I'm judged by my job, I'm judged by what I can provide. Okay, that's what you were taught, but that's not true. Like you've internalized that, and so it's true to you, but it's not true. You are judged by what kind of person you are and how you treat people. You want to be around someone who makes you feel good, then you need to make people feel good. And that's not by being selfish and stupid and ignorant. So that's a process. I mean, that is a growth process. So more and more men do feel, I mean, and women have been great about helping men, not it's their job, but helping men be more comfortable with their traditionally feminine side, which is, ridiculous, but I don't know how else to say it. But one of the biggest problems is other men. Um, they're made fun of, and all the time I get this, oh, she's not going to date you, Lee, or, oh, you simp, oh, you white knight, fuck you, dude, like, no, I'm not a simp because I'm encouraging someone and treating them right and treating them like a human, like I want to be treated. That's not simp. That's, that's what you should be doing. You should be encouraging, not coming on and being like, you look better if you got a boob job. You look better if you lost 30 pounds. The shit they say, like,
Yeah.
you know okay, so I get to ranting obviously when I talk
No,
about it,
it's okay. And I wouldn't say that you're a knight either. I don't ever feel like you're trying to swoop in and save me. I
yeah,
don't
nobody
ever
needs
feel that
saved.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
women don't need saved, like, and that goes in the like women dealing with trolls, like, uh, you know I would say women need to be more assertive. And when I have to be careful with this. This is a tough one, honestly, because I have upset some women, and I get it. When I'm stuck up for them, just like I upset my brother when bullies were picking on him, and when he was 14 and I was 12, and I went in and beat the shit out of him. Well, he was mad because that made him feel, whatever.
Inferior.
Yeah, and
Something.
it's not like I think a woman needs me. I'm gonna treat I do treat dudes the same way. Like if I see someone bullying a dude, I do the same thing. Um, but it just doesn't happen as often. It doesn't happen as often. So, women just need to be more assertive. Like I think they can't put up with any shit. Like they're used to
Yeah.
getting grace. Like we said before, they're used to putting up with shit. So it's easy to just ignore it. It's not like they're being destroyed by this guy. They just ignore it because you just got to go on with your
Stop.
life.
Like,
Yeah,
stop being so submissive.
yeah. There's no reason to entertain any of that shit. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's from a woman or a man or anybody. Like there's no reason to let someone disrespect you. Especially, I mean, TikTok's its own little micro, organism. That's fine. But I mean, it still
Yeah.
applies in different areas. Like I'll talk with someone 4 or 5 times, but then when they lose their goddamn minds and they start, filling up my notifications, I'm like, No, block. Like, there's no shame in that. And if they're going to talk shit about me, oh, he blocked me. I do not give one shit. Like, no. Like, if you want to be stupid, you didn't win because you screamed the loudest. I'm not going to entertain that behavior. You know, if someone's going to do that, if they do it in person, I'd be the same way.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know if you saw a TikTok I made yesterday that I've irritated a few people, but I actually got in an altercation yesterday in a store
With a male or a female?
A male.
Okay.
And I have lots of these stories, but the 60-second version was that I was checking out, doing a self checkout, and this dude was over in the regular checkout line, and it started getting louder. And I looked over there, and he's like yelling and getting in the face of the cashier lady who had a mask on. And I start hearing what he's saying, and he's getting pissed about masks.
Yeah.
I don't know what initially made him mad. I really don't know. And I don't care. I don't know if it was that or that's what he chose to get more upset about. But he was pissed at her, and he started screaming shit about everybody wearing a mask and being stupid and blah, 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 blah. And he's yelling it, screaming it, like unreasonable. And he's like getting in her face, and then he started throwing his food and shit. Like, just.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'm like, nope. And I was trying to ascertain, because when I'm in a public place like that, once I decide to get involved, like, I'm going to get involved all the way through. So I have to decide whether I'm willing to do that or not. And so I was like, yep, time to go. So I went over there, and I told him, I said, dude, I don't know what your fucking problem is, but you need to get the fuck out of here right now. And he did not like that at all. And he screamed shit at me, and I had my mask on, even though I'm fully vaccinated, because of dumbasses like him.
Yeah.
And he started screaming at me. He didn't get in my face because I was bigger than him, but he was still.
Yeah, I imagine you're bigger than most.
So he started, acting like he was going to throw shit at me. And I was like, dude, you do not want to start to get physical with me. I will destroy you. You need to get the fuck out of here right now. I don't know what your fucking problem is, but you leave your shit and get the fuck out of here. And he basically said, you're not the boss of me, and took a swing at me. And he missed. So I'm not that quick, but he missed. I don't know if he was.
Oh my God.
I don't think he was drunk, but he was just whatever. He was a fat little troll.
Yeah.
So then he like swung his other hand and hit me in the stomach. And you just can't hit me without. I just lose it. Like, I used to turn the other cheek and let people hit me a few times, and maybe they would realize they were in trouble. But I just fuck that. Like, I don't do that anymore.
Lee, did you get to a fight in a Costco? Is that what you're telling me?
It was a grocery store.
Did you throw hands in a Costco?
I punched him in the face, and he went down. I knocked his ass out. So
did security come? Police? What happened?
Well, I knocked him out, and it was just dead silent for a minute. And I'm like, because again, I've made this choice because I think I might get in a fight. So I'm in public, lots of witnesses, cameras. I know there's cameras. So I can't hit someone first. They're going to have to hit me first. And then when they hit me first, like, I see red, I'm pissed. So I just punched him, and he went down like a bag of flour. And so dead silence, and then everybody started applauding and shit, which is funny, and it sounds.
Applause. People applauded you.
And this happens a lot because people they were uncomfortable with everything that was going on, But I was not happy. Like, I'm tired of dealing with this shit. And I've had very similar situations like this happen several times in the past couple of years that ended very similar. And I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. Like, whatever, And actually, I just wanted to make sure the cashier lady was okay. So, I asked her if it was okay. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what his problem was. And she was just like a deer in headlights. She was really upset. And the store manager wasn't the store, whatever. The manager on duty came over, and they were like, oh, apologetic and da-da-da-da-da. And I told him, I said, I've been in these situations before. And I said, I'm assuming you're going to have to make a report. And I said, I don't really want to wait for the cops. And I said, because I'm tired of this. And, I don't know what I said. When I'm that angry, I really kind of forget at that point what's going on. I felt like I wanted to just get out of there. I didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Well, you probably weren't expecting it to get quite to that point either.
I mean, I kind of was. I have to expect it when I'm going to walk into it.
Yeah.
And people accuse me of inciting it, but I'm not inciting it. And I try to talk people out of it usually. And I didn't try as hard with this dude, but he was ready. He was just ready for an excuse to get violent.
Yeah.
And he was, if he wasn't me, he would have done it with her, and that's what I could tell at that point. And
Yeah.
I just can't let that stuff happen. I just can't let it happen. So I vaguely knew this person because there was an incident in that store about 9 or 10 months ago that I was involved in,
Okay.
and a very similar one. And so I asked her. I said, "Do I?" I said, "I need to go." I said, "Would you please tell the police when they come, this is my number and stuff, and they want to talk to me, they can." Um, I said, "But I want to go. Like, tell them you said I could go, so it doesn't seem like I'm fleeing or something." And she's like, "Okay." And I left, and I haven't actually heard back yet. I'm assuming he'll probably try to press charges. That's what happens usually, but it's thrown out really quickly. Um, I,
Yeah.
there's lots of witnesses and lots of evidence, on camera. I can't just rely on witnesses anymore. I need cameras because witnesses are
Yeah.
unreliable. But anyway, that's a long way. That wasn't the 60-second version, but I made a TikTok about it. Well, there's a few people, that's toxic and stupid. And there's another guy, that's cap. I don't believe that shit. Well, like, okay, it's social media. They're giving me their opinions, but fuck them. Like,
The only people who know were the people who was there. They don't know you or anything about you.
right,
That's the funny
exactly.
thing is like, the thing with TikTok, I've seen people out and about and they'll see me in person. And I think they have an idea of who I am because they watch the TikToks, and I try as best I can to be the most authentic I can and the best me I can, both on the screen as I would be in person. I really try to give full transparency, but you can't really know anybody, behind, like, at the end of the day, like, unless that's your actual friend or your actual family member, like, people don't know you or anything about you. So I mean, it goes back to the whole keyboard warrior thing of just saying whatever you want, and everybody has their opinions and everybody has too many opinions. you
Right,
know
right.
but
And
it
mostly guys like
sounds
that, they want. I mean, they're not online. Guys are not going to escalate. The trolls online, they're not that guy.
yeah.
They would not do that in person. And if I and I might talk to her later, but that cashier, I wish what she would have done is got right back in his face. I know this is hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but I wish she would have been
Yeah.
like, "You don't talk to me like that. You're on camera. You get the fuck out of here, or I'm going to have you thrown out, arrested." And you know what? I bet he would have backed down and chilled out or left.
It's
Because
sort of like this social experiment right now because we don't know as women if we're going to get hit,
yep,
and the men also aren't expecting us to clap back.
right.
So,
Yeah, I
and
don't blame. Yeah.
who wants to take that risk,
Well,
but we almost
right.
have to.
And that's another thing I'm trying to understand because I don't care if someone hits me, but I know most people don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
most people are pain and hit averse. I get it, but I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm calling your bluff. And if you hit me, I mean, I'm going to destroy you anyway. So good luck. I'm going to win in either way. So I understand that's not the case for most women. I get that,
Yeah.
but I don't know that it will change until dudes like that accept that they can't just get away with it.
I mean,
So
it'll take a whole generation, I think.
at least, I mean, I
Change
mean,
takes time,
yeah, it does. But
but
yeah,
it starts with the pebbles,
yep,
like the stepping stones, like you being you setting the example. I
right.
mean, I think that's where it starts. And me setting the example of not taking people's shit. I think it starts there. And then those ideals are promoted, and hopefully our children and generations to come,
Right.
breaking the cycle.
Well,
But no, you
there's
go
a
ahead.
way to approach it. Like now, that's how I would approach it, right? But women are powerful, and I don't think women really understand how much power they have. Um, they try to emulate the power of a masculine, and that doesn't work. They're just called a bitch or an asshole or whatever. So the women have a power that I don't think they really understand. They're not taught. They've never worked in it. And if a woman were to, if she would have said, something like, "Listen, sir," and just stared at him and said, and not even raised her voice, said, "I don't know what's wrong with you? But I'm not your wife, and I will not tolerate you treating me that way. And if you do not get out of here, I will have you thrown in jail. So I apologize for whatever is wrong in your life that's making you act this way, but it has nothing to do with me. And you need to get the fuck out of here. Or, something similar. I'm not a woman. I can't do it. But you get the idea. Like,
I think what you're
women,
saying is that women can be formidable if they want to be.
yeah. I mean,
Intimidating.
we call it the mom look. There's different ways to do it. But women have
Yeah.
a personal power that is stronger than any man. Like,
Yeah.
women could be in charge if they wanted. To me,
Oh,
women are
absolutely. We
women
are
are
in charge
charge.
in certain
Yeah.
countries. Yeah.
I think women are in charge. They just aren't assertive about it. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't care if people know they're in charge. They get shit done.
It's
right?
true. We're not. It's not ego. We don't have the ego involved in things.
Right.
And we. Yeah, it's not a pissing contest for us.
Yeah, I'd like to see more women step into that. I hate to say this is the woman's responsibility. No, like in the end, you don't blame the victim. You fucking tell the dude to quit being an asshole, and I get that. But I don't know that women can do that. Men are going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Society as a whole is going to have to do that. But women, I think, really need to, and not just their interactions with men. Whether it's a business colleague or other women, they need to step into that personal power and hold it close and really. I mean, most women I know do not feel powerful. Some super powerful women they don't feel strong. They don't feel powerful, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I'm weird too. Like, I see people differently. I get it. I've spent most of my life. See if I can spit all over the place. Spent most of my life like speaking into women and saying, this is you. No, this is you. You don't see that? No, this is you. Until they sort of believe it. Like, very, very few actually believe it. But they're like, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right.
We have internalized doubt, internalized self-doubt based off of media ads that we've seen, based off of things we have been told by the boomer generation. Sorry, but it's true.
Right.
I mean, we just really low self-esteem, I think, honestly, based on all of the things that are implanted in our brains from a very young age. Whereas men, it's the reverse. They're told, no, you can be president of the United States. Like, you can have this. And they're told you can, and yes, because they get the promotion. They get the respect. Just it's automatically given to them and they don't have to earn it. And so there's this whole very intricate, complex dynamic that is so insidious to human psychology that it will take a lot of time to repair.
I'm still learning that. I want more women like you to continue telling that. I've not seen that. That's not been part of my life. Like, I wasn't around women in like maturing. I mean, I had the friends were, but I was never that insidious thing you're talking about. Like, it doesn't connect with any of my experiences. And so I've always been like, why are women like this? Why are women like this? But I keep hearing exactly what you just said. And it makes me so sad and upset. I don't know what to do about it. I wish I knew what to do about it, because it's going to take change on the parental level, on the familial level. And is it their dad's doing that? Is it their mom's doing that? And anyway, that's kind of a cross topic, but yeah, you can only do what
you can only do what you can do. I can only do what I can do. And I think that the power lies in doing what we can with what we have. And what you have is a small platform on TikTok, and also people on TikTok like me who you support, and and you give advice to individuals who are willing to listen. I mean, small movements make the big change. If you take one grain of sand a day, it eventually makes a whole beach, right?
Right.
So you're a grain of sand. I'm a grain of sand.
Right.
It's kind of hippie. Hippily.
I speak in those old sayings all the time. At some point, people are going to be like, Lee's like an old man on a porch on a rocking chair. I say stuff today to my students and stuff that they're like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's an old allegory. Sorry, I'll just I'm full of the old trite sayings. So anyway.
So last and kind of unrelated comical question, but Lee, I know you'll answer it astutely. How many trolls did you eat for breakfast this morning? And what side dish would you say goes best with them? Like a nice Chianti? What goes nice with a troll? Do you
Oh,
grill it?
there's so
What do
many
you do?
there's so many ways to answer this. Oh my gosh, I'm so literal too. You know what? Actually, literally, I've dealt with so many trolls today. Like I shouldn't have got on TikTok early, but yeah, I got a couple of them worked up, and so I've eaten quite a few of them that way. But yeah, like if I'm gonna actually, I said literally. I guess that's more. That's not literally. Literally eat them.
We can think about it. We can.
You,
Hey,
you're gonna
maybe
make
there
me
will
get.
be.
Go ahead.
Maybe there will be a shortage one day, and we have to
Yeah,
invite cannibalism into this. And
troll
white
bars.
meat is in high demand. You
See,
know,
you went there, and I was gonna be like, I should not go there. This is gonna get dark.
I said
Um,
it, not you.
but human flesh is actually pretty delicious. I'll just stop there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually
Okay.
pretty good. Everything tastes like chicken, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
but
cool.
but yeah, I'd grill them. Anyway. Um,
Yeah. You
yeah,
roast them.
yeah, that'd be good. Make them nice and moist. Keep that moisture in there and put a nice marinade on 'em. Anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
as I said before, I really prefer in general to try to talk someone down from that shit because I have
Right.
given up changing them. I've given that up. I really have.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. Like very few of them. I get some satisfaction trolling online because they do back off a lot. I can, I can mess with like 20 trolls, and one of them might try to come back with some weak insult, about my age or my hair. Like, oh yeah, it hurts my feelings. uh,
You have a
uh,
masterful mane. Just
it's
like,
it's pretty long. Yeah,
it's pretty
it's
good.
not so good on camera. Yeah, it's been raining here today, and I was out helping people in the rain. I do too much of that, but anyway. Um, but yeah, like they come back with these stupid insults. Like I haven't heard that 1,000 times. Give me a break. So,
Well, once you get appearance involved, you've lost the argument, anyways.
right, exactly. Like you have nothing else to say. So, and I hate arguing. I hate it. I hate conflict. That sounds weird, I know, but that's why when I
Yeah.
decide to do something, it's decisive. I'm not there for the conflict. I'm not there for the argument. A lot of people like that. I don't. Because again, I don't think I'm going to change anybody's mind. But yeah, like I like my trolls nice and compliant and easy to kick. I don't need a challenge. I don't want a challenge. I just want them to shut the fuck up. So while I drink my Guinness, I'll probably that's be a
Well, it
good
sounds
drinker.
like you like to get your trolls at the grocery store when they're bossing at a cashier and, you know,
Lately,
tenderize them
lately,
right in the face. You got to get a
that's
nice,
right. I have to
get them
decide.
juicy.
I have to decide in the grocery store because yes, I have four four incidents in grocery stores in the past 2 years
Yeah.
that ended in violence. With one of them, two guys in the hospital. It involved my son. They were insulting my son, and I was an aisle over, and I came into the middle of it, and he took a swing at my son, and that wasn't going to happen. My son was
I,
with his boyfriend at the time.
yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't press charges, but I guess it took some convincing. But yeah, I put them in the hospital, and so yeah, grocery stores. I guess that's
I
it.
mean, they should give you a punch card, like, a literal pun intended punch card, like punch four trolls, get the fifth one free at
Yeah,
Costco this week. Like,
exactly. With a side of bacon or something. Yeah,
oh my gosh. Well, Lee, I want to thank you for being here today.
my
And
pleasure.
I'm sure my viewers have appreciated your commentary today. Do you have anything you want to advertise, plug, or say to the audience?
I really don't. I appreciate you having me on and letting me ramble. You're doing good things, and I appreciate women like you who are in your power. You are stepping into your strength, and that's what we need. And I know you're a great example for so many women. I see women in your comment section complimenting you and appreciating you for what you're doing, and you have a few causes that are dear to your heart, and you don't hesitate to stand up for those people or those situations, and you're very passionate about it. But and I just really appreciate seeing that, and I appreciate you allowing me to kind of be there and not take offense at this crazy white dude who's come in. And I know I say some stupid shit, and you don't mind, and I appreciate that. And again, I'm on a lot of social media, but I'm not on it for followers. You can certainly come to my TikTok if you want to see weird shit. Like one day I'm ranting about somebody, and the next day I'm singing a Johnny Cash song, and the next day I've got makeup on.
And there's a cat. He has a cat,
uh,
Luna. She's beautiful.
my beautiful cat, and who has changed my life. I should have got her a long time before, but she is definitely the queen of the household. So
Pets are great. Well, I appreciate you too, Lee. If you guys want any more advice on how to handle a troll, you can visit Forbes.com and search 10 tips for dealing with trolls. And to better understand the psychology behind troll mindset culture, go to time.com/trolls are ruining the internet. You guys can check me out on the Truthful Groomer website, as well as Twitter and Insta. We'll see you next time on Bite Me.